Hi, my name is Simon and I love to make things. Over the years, I made some pretty cool stuff, like a surfboard, an electric wakeboard winch, and I also made a phone game. But let's not talk about that one. But for the last few months, I made things using So everything started when I moved out of my parents' house to a small apartment and I couldn't make anything in my family workshop anymore. So after that, I had no way of making things. And for a person that loves to make things, it kind of felt like torture. And the feeling of taking something from an idea in your head to an actual thing is like one of the most satisfying feelings in life. And I believe that this desire of making things comes from being created in the image of the God who created everything. So then I got a 3D printer, and from the start, it honestly felt amazing, since the development of 3D printers have come so far that you could just unbox it, assemble it, start it, let it calibrate itself, and you have perfect first layer out of the box. I've only run into a few problems, like some failed prints, which was my fault, and getting your STL files from Blender ready to be printed without random bridging and stuff. So when I think about how 3D printing have impacted me, I ask myself, why didn't I get a 3D printer earlier? And that's not actually because the useful things that I printed, like bag clips or cable tube from a TV, but actually the personal things, like I could just use this mundane, everyday, boring vase that I got with a plan that had no personal touch to it, or I could design my own vase, send it to the 3D printer, let it print, and I have my own personal vase instead. This vase is not the most amazing thing, I know, but now it's my vase, and every day it could bring me a little bit more joy. So if I see this vase every day, should I put a little bit more effort to it than just a boring basic vase? Isn't this a little bit more pleasing to the eye and a little bit more fun? And talking about fun, wouldn't it be fun if this vase also could float, like a floating plant? There's some different floating plants out there you could buy, but the price? Ooh, that's not worth it. And that's the thing with a lot of designs out there. They're so expensive and really not worth the money. Like this lamp for 13,319 euros that I just could design myself, watch and enjoy it being printed. Assemble it, and be satisfied with the result and enjoy looking at it every day knowing I made it myself. So I could buy a floating plant, or I could design myself, print it, put magnets in it, and assemble it. And I know it's not the most impressive design. It's just a floating plant with a transparent stick in the middle to support it from going sideways. But it's my floating plant, and I see it every day. And when you take a few steps back, you don't see the stick, and it gives the same floating effect. So if this gives me more satisfaction than buying it, then why should I spend more money on buying it when I can make it cheaper myself? And that's the thing. There's so many designs out there, especially boring designs that we just accept into our lives. Just like we do things out of habit every day, and it becomes some boring task that we just have to do. And some of the things we do out of habit, they're just things we do because everyone else does it. Just like we want to buy popular designer things that ain't really worth the money, like simple things like designer lamps that we could just design, print, put together with a lamp and a core for a fraction of the price. And I think it's pretty incredible how much you can accomplish with a 3D printer. Like, imagine how much more time it would take and how much more it would cost to make any of these things that I've shown you without a 3D printer. And imagine if you would start thinking about producing hundreds or thousands of vases or lamps. If you would go the traditional way of injection molding, you would have an upfront cost of the tool. The tool would take time to be made, and you would have to get engineers to tweak and modify the tool to make it work, which would take months. And some things can't even be made in injection molding. But if I decided to make it with 3D printing, I would still have an upfront cost of buying more 3D printers, but I would just be able to plug it in and start producing. And it literally only would take a few days instead of several months to start producing. And if you have a lot of variations of your design or into a market where you have to come up with a lot of new designs quickly, 3D printing is perfect for that. And of course, 3D printing has its cons and its pros, and it's not the perfect way to produce something for everything. But if we put producing in big scale aside and just think about someone that loves to make things and also want to share their creations with others without spending tens of thousands of dollars, 3D printing is a great option. Reflecting on my own life as a person that loves to make things, I love the possibilities that 3D printing brings. Not only to make useful things, but also the cool designs that I can replace my boring designs at home with. And as I said in the beginning, I wish I would have bought a 3D printer earlier to be able to unleash my creativity and make my own things. And I know we can get stuck on thinking that that's too hard to make, but we need to realize that everything around us are made by someone that are just as smart as you. And you can make things that will impact you and also impact others. So what is really stopping you from making your own things? However big it is, start making it. This was Simon, and I'm out.